And then it happened. Suddenly, I was at a thrift store, and I purchased a coat, which I had donated 3 weeks ago. The good news is, I found my keys.
Welcome to the Tag Team Talent Podcast, your backstage pass to great entertainment. And now, here's the man who's produced more live shows than, just about anybody, your host and MC, Scott Edwards.
Welcome back to the Tag Team Talent Podcast. I'm so excited. Not only do I have 3 amazing videos for you, as I do every week, but I have a terrific co-host. Ladies and gentlemen, Comic Magician of the Year in 2019, amazing comic magician in any year, but a very dear and long-standing friend, which is hard to believe. Ladies and gentlemen, Larry Wilson!
Please.
Oh, the crowd's going crazy.
Sit down, please.
Thanks for being on the show.
My pleasure. Always my pleasure.
Well, it's so exciting to have you here. As our co-host, you're going to watch a few videos with me and the audience, and we'll get a chance to comment at the end. And but before we do, you've been in show business for a long time.
Hundreds of years.
Yeah, don't want to age you, but and you started off working with names like Dick Van Dyke and Lucille Ball and Hugh Hefner. But one of the things that I always enjoyed as a comic magician is when you talked about working in the South. Was it different there than like LA?
It's like another world.
Is it?
In fact, they used to find it so amusing because I was always being introduced, direct from Los Angeles, here's Larry Wilson. And I was so clearly a fish out of water. And all I would have to do is talk about how weird it was and how, I'd be someplace and someone would use some Southern expression I'd never heard before, someone would offer me, like they'd say, would you like a moon pie? And I'd say, I don't know what that is. And they'd say, like everyone in the world should know what that was.
Moon pie.
Moon pie. And I had no idea. Or I'd say, are grits supposed to taste like sand with butter in them?
Yeah.
And then people like to go, yes. And I go, well, then these are great grits. These are fantastic.
Or what about a goo-goo?
No.
I think that's a candy of some kind of confection.
Some kind of thing, But they're very sweet. They're very, very sweet people.
Well, they like their sweet stuff, sweet tea.
They like their stuff with sugar in it. They like... At one point, I was someplace, I want to say like maybe in Kentucky, where I said, what do you people like to eat? And someone said, burgoo. And I didn't know whether that was actually a dish or whether it was simply sort of an ecstatic shout of glee that I was talking about food and someone's, burgoo. Well, they explained it's a very traditional stew.
Oh.
And I said, so what's in this stew? And a fight broke out in the audience because no two people could agree on what, till finally someone shouted, it's roadkill. And I said, what? And they said, yeah, it's whatever you can find.
Whatever meat you can find.
I'd say, so it's like you're out there and you see somebody, look, mama, burgoo. It's just...
It's crazy. Well, thank you for sharing that experience, and I know our fans in the South can relate to that. But for everybody else, we've got some terrific videos. Now, you being a comic magician,
yes.
I wanted to share a little bit of magic with my audience, so you, as a professional, might say, what do you think? And we'll all learn a little bit.
Well, all right.
Let's see. Ladies and gentlemen, our first video in this week's show is another good friend of mine, a terrific magician, ventriloquist. He does a little bit of everything. Andy Gross. He works out of Los Angeles. And here's a little bit of magic by Andy Gross. We know you'll enjoy. I don't think this is so much magic as is ventriloquism, but there's always a little bit of magical feel.
Well, ventriloquism is an associated art with magic.
Oh.
Because it's illusionary.
That's probably what I was trying to say with less fancy words.
Well, you're creating the illusion either that an inanimate object can talk, or in this case, I think he's going to throw his voice into the audience spectator.
Well, let's watch.
All right.
Now stay real still, don't move. Stay real still. I got 2 more things for you. Got this. Now you know how those ventriloquists, they wear like matching bow ties and stuff, or matching outfits? I don't have that, but I got these, so I want you to pick one of these. Just take one of these. In fact, you just take this one. It's fine. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Here, make a deal. I'm going to give you both.
So, magic in the sense that something you didn't expect to hear.
Gonna make a fuss over it. That's good. All right. Now, Derek, do me one more favor. You happy? You good? You look great. He really does. What the heck is this doing up there? Left a ring up there. That's. That was very good. I farted. Here comes another. Oh. Do you insist on singing? I do. All right. I'm going to give you something that'll make it a lot easier. Hold on. Hold the microphone just like that. Just look at them. Goody, 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 goody. I like this. This is good. This is good. This is good. A little song. Tell some jokes. We're just going to sing a song. I know what I'm going to do. Can we have a little I'm Your Puppet music back there to take us home tonight, Derek? You've been fantastic. Now get the hands going. Oh yeah, just wiggle your little finger, Andy, and I'll sing a song.
Oh, yeah.
I'm your puppet. Your only wish is my command. Yeah, 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 yeah. Give it all for Derek. You can stand up. One more time. We'll just take this off and leave that for a second. One more time.
Ladies and gentlemen, ventriloquist magician Andy Gross. Thank you, Andy, for sending that video in.
Yeah.
That was, good audience participation. Now, for you, he's a good magician, but that's more...
Well, his ventriloquism was very good.
Yeah, but magic, it was more goofiness,
Yeah.
but the ventriloquism was good.
Yeah. No, it that mask fitting over someone's face is a great thing. It's a great thing.
Well, it allows them more freedom to control the situation and yet still use the ventriloquism, and great audience participation. Well, thanks, Andy, for sending that in. You, the audience, we hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. I enjoyed it.
I'm sure you did.
But you know what? We have some stand-up comedy now.
What?
Yes, I know it's hard to believe on a stand-up comedy show that we have
What?
stand-up comedy. But let's see a little bit of his comedy, if you're ready.
Yes, who is it?
Dan St. Paul.
Oh, I have heard of him. I've never seen him.
Okay, so a big-time headliner out of the Bay Area. I should say Larry works all over the world, but is out of Reno, so that's why I didn't assume he knew Dan, but you'll see why. He was a headliner at my fundraiser and did a great job. Here's a little comedy by Dan St. Paul.
How are you? Great to be here. I was a special ed teacher. I remember my first day, I was teaching kids with learning disabilities in junior high, and they were the smartest kids I ever met. Because I remember I asked we were doing geography, I said, so Troy, what's the country that's south of California? And he said, I don't know, I don't do that much traveling. That was brilliant. My name is Dan St. Paul. I am a professional stand-up comedian if you laugh. If you do not laugh, welcome to this evening's seminar entitled Jokes That Are Not Funny to You.
That's fun.
I must warn you that a lot of my material deals with what's funny after the age of 60. It's a very short show because I'm 73 and I often forget what I'm supposed to say next and what I've already said. So I must tell you before we go on that most of my material deals with what's funny after the age of 60. It's a very short... Oh, You know, I often wonder when I was younger, how will I know when I'm old? And then it happened. Suddenly, I was at a thrift store and I purchased a coat, which I had donated 3 weeks ago. The good news is I found my keys. So,
Great job.
Great setup and joke.
I'm just forgetting stuff. Are you? Yeah, I just forget. The other day somebody told me, hey, remember the Monkees? The only one still alive is the drummer. I said, I know. Ringo. I remember in my 60s I'd walk into a room and go, I forgot what I walked in here for. In my 70s, I'm in my neighbor's garage. There's differences between your 60s and 70s. In my 60s, I call up a friend and they go, hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm pretty good, man. How about you doing? I'm all right, can't complain. Now I call up my friends who are my age and I go, hey, how you doing? And they go, I am waiting for lab results. And when you get older, you don't expect things to happen until they do. My therapist just told me that he was retiring. And I thought, oh no, now I'm going to have to hire a hitman because this guy knows way too much.
That was Dan St. Paul live on stage at a fundraiser I did just a few months ago. What'd you think?
I thought it was great. Very funny. Great delivery. I love his whole demeanor on stage. Is great.
Yeah, and what's interesting, and of course we're older, so we can relate to the material, but the audience I was presenting to that night was pretty much an over 45, 50 crowd.
Oh,
so
yeah.
the material was perfect. But what I always like about a professional stand-up comic, whatever the age, if you're this funny, funny is funny. You know, a 20 or 30-year-old would still find those jokes funny. Probably a little funnier to somebody over 60.
I think so.
But still, it's humorous. And the way he sets it up and then does the payoff,
Well, no.
the structure of the jokes is strong.
Great joke about he's in a thrift store, buys a coat that he had donated 3 weeks before. Good news is, I found my keys.
Right. I mean, it was
that's
perfectly
great.
presented.
It's great.
Oh, guess what?
I can't imagine.
It's time for Classic Rewind.
I'm not sure I know what that means.
Well, we have videos from back when I owned the chain of comedy clubs and my TV shows.
Yes.
I got a chance to work with some of the biggest names in comedy, and we get to share those videos here as a Classic Rewind.
Fantastic.
It's going to be great for you, and it's going to be great for you. Ladies and gentlemen, this week's Classic Rewind, good friend of mine, you'll recognize him. It's Bob Saget. Full house, been around. A lot of people don't know he was a comic musician.
Oh, yeah?
Early on.
I won't do it if I offend anyone. Tell me if I'll offend you, I won't do it. Okay, but you forced me, you really did. I noticed there was women that actually asked me to do it. I'm scoring tonight. Don't listen to this. It's an Eric Clapton song, and he knows 70 chords, and I know 7, and here's one. She goes in the bedroom. Don't listen to this. I'm serious. And lays on the bed. Forgive me. I'm serious. And then I go in the bathroom. I'm real sorry. And she gives me. I'm real sorry. And then I asked her, do you feel alright? And she said,
Albert was a little edgy.
This is the cleanest I've ever seen.
Apologize for everything.
The cleanest.
Yeah. So funny.
Oh, real fun.
Wow. I'm right on time. I did a fun show in Sacramento. It got a little unruly. But I did one of my favorite shows ever in Sacramento. And psychically, I met a girl named Julie. Sat kind of far, and next year she'll pass the bar. Everyone, Julie is a liar. Everyone, I know that Julie is a liar. Yes, she is. Everyone, Julie is a liar. I don't trust you, Julie. This is coming from me, Bob. There's a guy I trust, and his name is... I really had a good time today. And I feel bad a little bit. Maybe I embarrassed me. That's okay, because she and I both have children. Maybe we'll both go together and don't get married and sick. Julie is a liar. Everyone! Friends are too. Julie's a liar. I know that Julie is a liar.
That was Bob Saget live on stage doing some comedy music and totally engaging the audience.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever you can get the audience into a bit or a song, but much like a magician is involved with a trick, the audiences love that interaction.
Oh, of course. Of course. But it's very impressive that he has them singing spontaneously, you know.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we had a little ventriloquism with Andy Gross. We had some stand-up comedy by Dan St. Paul. We had a little comedy music by Bob Saget. So a lot of variety. But speaking of amazing variety, comic magician Larry Wilson is my co-host. So exciting! Thank you, Larry.
You're very, very welcome.
He'll be back at another show sometime.
Oh, absolutely.
But we want to thank you for joining us this week and making the trip down from Reno to join me.
My pleasure.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back next week with 3 more great videos. If you want to explore more, maybe have a talent, go to my website, www.tagteamtalentsearch.com. Thanks, Larry. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Thanks for watching the Tag Team Talent Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you'll never miss the next big talent reveal. And don't forget to write in the comments below which performer you thought was best in this episode. We love hearing from you. See you soon.